I'd win so much more if I just stopped taking bad trades. Today was a very tricky day, and I forced 3 unprofessional trades in the morning, and then later on in the afternoon, I took 1 pretty decent trade, and then another bad trade after that. So that's 1 good trade and 3 bad trades. Let's dive in today to see what I did wrong and what I honestly could have done a lot better. But if we're just looking at the open, we open up kind of bearish. We're below the New York VWAP. We're getting some bearish momentum. I usually don't like to take a trade until the 15-minute range is set. And ideally, from what I've been backtesting using VWAP in the 21 EMA, I ideally want to allow for the EMA to be able to come up, to kind of catch up, build some data, and to get a little bit closer to the New York VWAP. So these trades I should have never taken just because, again, we don't get that 21 EMA to the spot where we can actually read and react off of that 21 EMA, combining it with the VWAP. If we're taking trades right here, which we did, we're only using the New York VWAP. And again, this early on with very little data, it's kind of like a coin flip, whether or not I'm going to be able to allow the trade to work in my direction or not. So I decided to take this trade on my aggressive 150K account. But again, just because it's an aggressive account doesn't mean it's an account to where I can take stupid trades in. So we get into the trade, and the trade looks like it's, it could potentially do pretty well. But then, we just kind of get some like sideways chop. But at this point, we get a really nice push higher, and then it just fakes us out again and then comes right back down into chop. So already just seeing this type of price action, I should honestly just be cash flat. I shouldn't have taken a single trade. And we're going to see that I took a long here. And the reason I took a long is because, again, I'm trying to get that New York breakout, but I don't have the 21 EMA as extra confirmation to help me make this trade. So this trade's honestly a coin flip. I'm taking it very early on. The opening range was just set. It's not the worst long in the world, but I definitely should have stayed in this long rather than taking one and then a second trade after cutting this trade early. So as soon as we get this red candle, I cut the trade. I decided to go short, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I think price is rejecting the New York VWAP, so let's see if we can actually go lower. But no, the 21 EMA is holding price. We get a strong push higher. I get tapped out of my short, and then I'm like, okay, fine. Let me go and flip back along because we have support from 21 EMA. We're now above the New York, and I'm expecting for this to actually be the breakout candle since it was a really nice breakout candle, right? It's really nice. But again, we just get faked out again. It comes right back down below the New York and actually breaks below the EMA. And so we just took 3 losing trades back to back and already hit max daily loss on the 150K aggressive account. Not even taking good aggressive trades, just honestly just doing stupid stuff. Just flip-flopping back and forth, especially when price action is just sideways. There's no information. There's no information that it's trending, right? So to be honest, this trade would have looked a lot better if we had the, let's say, previous day's New York anchored VWAP like this. If we had the previous day's New York anchored VWAP like this, it looked really good, and I can actually take this trade. But again, you can't really predict chop, and I honestly just sort of stayed in this long the entire time. Because even though we don't have the previous day's New York anchor VWAP right there, if we look at the regular trading hours, let me see if I can switch it. If we look at regular trading hours, we're essentially finding support down at the daily anchored VWAP. So I could have stayed in this long, and it would have been very valid to actually stay in this long. If I would have won, well, no, I would have lost. But at least I could have taken a nice loss that I could have been proud of and be like, okay, I'm following my trading process. That's actually a good long to take. But going forward, I definitely want to wait for the 21 EMA and start implementing this more into my trading. And then here, it looked like, okay, buyers may be in. We're kind of like developing a floor down here of like higher lows. And it looks like, okay, we can make a new higher high and then kind of just continue this uptrend upward. And that's what it looked like price wanted to do. But again, we're going to soon see that buyers are going to fail and sellers are going to come back in control and bring price even lower. This time breaking out of the opening range, officially making us turn into a downtrend. So we just retraced all this bullish momentum, and then sellers just stepped in, kicked right in. And just looking at this spot, I mean, it's really hard for me to take a trade because as we just saw, we got the daily VWAP right here. We still have not yet been able to close below the daily. We don't actually close below the daily until we get around here. And by this time, I'm already late to the station. I can't really short down here because they're just so far away from the 21 EMA and also the New York anchored VWAP that it's just not a part of my playbook to take a trade like this. So I wait, and I see that price is kind of consolidating around this area. So I decided to throw on a handoff anchor since we're just drifting even lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach the handoff anchor VWAP to the last touch we had of the New York VWAP. And then we can see here that it looks like price wants to break above it, but then it quickly is rejected. And I've back tested this, and 9 times out of 10, it's a winner. It's just today we had news that I was not paying attention to, and I was stopped out, which is unfortunate. But on a typical day, I mean, this is actually a trade that I can actually be proud of because it's something that I've back tested, I've tested out. I don't have a ton of data on it yet, but taking these rejections off of the handoff anchored VWAP has proven to be a little bit profitable. I would like to get more data in the future, but we can just see here, price rejects it. So I go ahead and enter as soon as we break this candle's low. And then it looks like, wow, we can actually kind of like get some nice continuation. We're about halfway to my target. And then we come back and draw down. I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's just retesting the handoff anchored VWAP. I'm looking for sellers to kind of step back in. And it seems like they do. And then out of nowhere, bro, we just get this wild news candle and we get stopped out. I honestly think if we did not have a Fed speaker speak today, we would have never got this candle. Sellers would have maintained control. We could have made a new low of day all the way back down to the previous New York. But unfortunately, I mean, we just got to pay attention. It's just unprofessional on my part, not paying attention to what the news events are. But this is totally on me. And then a couple minutes later, I decided to take another trade, which I'm not so proud of. Okay, I tried taking one trade off this handoff anchored VWAP. Sellers are really struggling to make a new low of day. So why am I trying again so soon when I have no new information? I mean, we're still just consolidating in this choppy mess of a range. So me taking this trade is not the best idea. And so I'm kind of acknowledging that. I'm like, listen, I took 3 stupid trades in the morning, and I'm taking another stupid trade. That's 4 stupid trades in a day. Let me just go ahead and cut. Let me not trade anymore. It's not a good day. I don't have a good read on the market. So I'm deciding to kind of cut my losses. And I was down $300 on each of my 50K funded accounts, which is not bad. You know, my daily loss limit is $400 on my 50K funded accounts. I did hit max daily loss limit on my 150K funded account. But again, I have some good learning lessons from today. Is honestly, when price action is as ugly as this and I can't see the setups clear as day, I mean, just don't be an idiot and don't keep trading. You know, what I did in the beginning in the morning was idiotic and stupid. You know, what I did right here, taking another trade after I just got stopped out from the news, after having no new information. I mean, we're still within this consolidation range. That's just not smart for me because, again, it's like I don't have any new information. Why do I think now is the time that sellers are going to kind of finally be able to crack out of this congestion and move lower, right? At this point, this is telling me that we're kind of like developing some type of ceiling and that maybe price wants to come up and touch the New York. So rather than just taking this trade, maybe I should actually wait until price gets to the New York anchored VWAP, see how price reacts there, and then take a trade off that. But if I was actually disciplined and did that, I would have honestly just stayed flat for the rest of the day, because once we actually do get to the New York anchored VWAP, as we're going to see here, buyers actually just take control and we're just cracking above it, and then we just are drifting higher and higher and higher. And then we just end the day like this. You know, it's not a great day. We have a very V-shaped, you know, it's kind of like a coffee mug, if we say like this could be the handle right here, and then here's the coffee cup, right? So days like this, I mean, it's just not good to trade, and it's not good to just blow off all my steam. So like today was just not a good day. You know, the setups were just not clear. The only trade I can confidently say that I'm actually okay with taking a loss on is this trade here. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we're so close to news, especially if I'm in profit, bro, I'm cutting that trade. You know, I'm blocking my stop at break even, or I'm taking the little profit that I do have, because I don't know what news, I don't know what the Fed speaker is going to say. I don't know how he's going to impact the market, right? But, you know, I forgot about the news event and we got stopped out. So the only good trade that I took today, we got stopped out because I wasn't paying attention. I was not being professional and paying attention to the news events that were occurring today.